All right. Good morning and welcome to the Complete to Compete Title III program. We're glad you're with us. The program that is brought to you by UAS, Juneau, and Sitka Career Services programs. Please put your questions on the chat box and Deborah will answer them at the conclusion of the session. And today's program is Internships and Volunteering Gateway to the Workplace. And our presenter is Deborah Reidman. Deborah is a University of Alaska Juneau Campus Career Services Coordinator for all three campuses. And she has over 15 years of experience working with high school and state job centers and has been working at the UAS Juneau campus for over 8 years with students and alumni. She knows her stuff and I suggest you pay attention.
Great. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you for all of you for joining us this morning. I'm really super excited about this session. Internships and volunteering are a passion of mine because for college students, internships and volunteering can give them a foot in the door with both employers and industries. And they both are a way to gain exposure within their degree program that then they can translate onto their resumes. So we're excited to be able to share these resources with you today. So what we're going to be covering today is the what and the why about internships and volunteering, the definitive benefits and advantages to both, how to get started, where to look, and then if you have any questions along the way, just like Jeff had mentioned, just go ahead and put them in the chat box. And then towards the end of the session, we'll be able to answer those questions. So if you have a pen and a paper, something to write with, you might want to jot some of those questions down along the way, and then we'll be happy to address those when we get to the end of our session. So what exactly is an internship? An internship is on-the-job training for professional types of careers. It really does give you more of an opportunity to see what people are doing within an industry that aligns with your degree program. And it's typically for college students, but it can also be for high school students or postgraduate students. And so there's opportunities for lots of different places within your degree program, your education field. And then internships may be paid or unpaid and are usually temporary positions. And there's been some discussion about paid or unpaid. What I have found after being here in Alaska for the past 8 years, most of the internships are paid, which is a really great thing. I usually try to stay away from unpaid internships because there are a lot of those out there. However, there are some websites that we're going to have a chance to take a look at, and there are some unpaid internships that you can see on those. But that's just kind of a thing that I try to encourage students to do because there is money to be out there and you need to get paid for the work that you do. Oftentimes people wonder, oh, what's the difference between an internship and a job? The difference is internships are definitely more intentional. So you get to actually apply what you've been learning to this particular experience. And I don't know if you've had opportunities, I think we all have when we're in classes and we wonder, okay, when am I going to use this? And you kind of start to lose interest. But internships is where you actually get to try on some of the skills that you've been developing as part of your degree program. So why should you do an internship or volunteer? Here are the benefits for you. They can help determine your interest in a particular career. Part of the process of finding what type of career you want to do with your degree program is you need to get into the workplace and try on a few things, do some observation, and then oftentimes what that will do, it will allow you to either go one way or another way, so it kind of determines your direction. And you can eliminate something that you were thinking of, maybe go towards something else that seems more interesting to you. And so internships are really, really great to be able to do that. The other thing that the benefit is to you is to expand your network of contacts. anytime you have a chance to get into a place where you can either volunteer or do an internship, you're developing relationships with the people that work within that office or industry. And here in Alaska, people are very well connected. I don't know if you've heard of the term, the degree of separation, how we're all connected to somebody, to everybody basically in the world by seven degrees of separation. And honestly, after moving here from the Seattle area, I honestly think that the degree of separation here in Alaska is 1, because really you can find somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. And so it's really easy to build your network, but getting into these particular industries is definitely going to help you expand your network of contacts. Another great advantage too is you can find a mentor. So if you have somebody that is in the degree field that you're interested in or in the industry, then they would be interested, hopefully, or you can approach them about their interest in maybe being a mentor for you. And so, so these kinds of opportunities will allow you to find the type of people who might be able to develop a mentorship. And then, of course, workplace skills. There are certain skills that we learn as part of our degree program, but there are different skills in the workplace. And so you get to try on and develop those skills and see what types of skills are valued and what kind of skills are needed. And then you can continue to develop those skills. So it could be something as simple as an advanced level with Excel that they use for the type of projects that they are involved in. And so that gives you a chance to learn those skills and develop your skills within those areas. And then they can result in permanent paid employment. You know, you get to try on the position, they get to check out how you're doing and if you might be a potential employee for the future. They also are looking ahead to what kinds of jobs that they might be hiring for in the future, and they may be eyeing you for that particular position. So as students get closer to finishing their degree program, internships become really, really important because it can be a foot in the door and allow you to be that person that they want to perhaps hire once a position comes open. And then the benefit to the employer, experienced interns need little or no training because they've already done it. So that really takes out a part of the hiring process for them because the onboarding process, getting people ramped up with the type of skills that they need for the job that they're doing, that's already eliminated for a good part. And so you can basically jump in and hit the ground running, which is fantastic. And then it becomes a pipeline for future internships or volunteers because word of mouth, it really does make a difference. And below here is Terry Robus. She was one of our students here at UAS, and she had an internship with Alaska State Museum here. So there's lots of opportunities, and we'll get to see where to look for those opportunities. But we have a lot of our students that are participating. And at UAA and UAF, same types of things too. There's lots of opportunities and places that internships can occur. So what are the advantages of an internship or a volunteer experience? The thing about internships is they become relevant experience for your resume and cover letter. And as the Career Services Coordinator here at UAS, when I work with students that have completed internships and we're getting their resume ready for maybe another internship or a possible job in the workplace, it makes a huge difference. So being able to show that experience on a resume really does up your game, so to speak. If students do not have internship experience, then what we do then is we go to their coursework. And so we try to find some relevant experience in their coursework, which is great, but an internship, the actual experience definitely is preferred. And it lets you test the water of a career in industry like we kind of mentioned earlier. So you can kind of see if you like it, if you don't like it. because we have different crossroads along the way in our degree programs. And so you might want to take some different classes within your degree program if there's a particular area after doing an internship that you want to focus on. So, so this allows you to help identify what those areas are. And then as a result, you might choose a different career path. So if you are early on in your degree program, you might decide you want to change majors. And so this really helps with that decision. What happens sometimes is students get into a degree program without really exploring what you would do with that degree. And then after they get done with their degree program and they get into the workplace within that particular area and they find out they don't like it. A really good example of this is the field of education, where people go into teaching, but they've never been in a classroom before. And once they get into a classroom, then they realize, I don't like this, I want to get out of it. And then you think of all the time and the money that was spent on that, and there wasn't any really true exploration done ahead of time to be able to, you know, solidify, yeah, this is what I want to do. And by the way, for the teaching field, you can be a substitute teacher, at least here in the Juneau area. If you're in Anchorage or Fairbanks, then you can check and see what the minimum requirements are for substitute teachers. But people here just need to be 18. So you don't need any degree programs to actually get into the classroom and be a substitute teacher. So that's an example of how can you try something on as you're in a degree program so that you know that you're going in the right direction. And then applying your education to the workplace, there's a lot of things that you are learning as part of your degree program. And so getting into a particular internship in a field will let you actually use some of the things that you've been learning. So those are some advantages. And the same goes for volunteering. So with both opportunities, you can do that. Now, this is one of those best kept secrets, and a lot of students don't really realize that they can actually earn college credit for internships. And so you can check with your campus, but here at UAS, in order to earn college credit, you must be in a declared major. You must meet with a faculty advisor. You have to have that faculty advisor that's going to participate and be integral with your internship for college credit. You must have at least a 2.0, and you must have room in your schedule. The last point is really important. And so if you're thinking you'd like to do an internship for college credit, then first step is to meet with your academic advisor and see if there's room, because the requirements of your degree program, some of them may have already been satisfied and there's really no room to do an internship. And so that's kind of discouraging when you find that out. So to do that sooner than later and let your academic advisor or your faculty advisor know that you'd like to do an internship for college credit, then that can be kind of put into your schedule planning. And then how many credits can you earn? So you can earn up to 6 credits for a certificate program, 9 credits for an associate degree, and then up to 12 credits. And this is over the entire, you know, for the bachelor degree program, the entire 4 years or 5 years that you're in your degree program. So you can earn up to 12 credits. During the summer, oftentimes you have more time. And so you might be able to put in a 40-hour week or even more, because seasonal work here in Alaska, you know, when it's nice outside and the weather's good and the sun is shining, people are out and they're getting stuff done. And so if you want to earn some credits during the summer is a good time. I think I've heard of one of our students that earned 9 college credits. Now, as you are considering this, and if you decide to move forward with this, then there is, at UAS, there's a proposed contract that you have to, a proposed course contract that you have to complete. And then learning outcomes need to be identified. how the student is going to be evaluated. So there's a lot of conversation and content that needs to be included to apply for college credit for internships. And the other thing too is you got to do this before you start the internship. So if you're interested in doing an internship for college credit, say next summer, then all of this paperwork, everything needs to get into the registrar's office by spring. And so they do not grant the hours that you are working towards the college credit that's required retroactively. So you have to have everything in place before you can start your internship. So what I would suggest doing, get in touch with your academic advisor, your faculty advisor, have a conversation with them, the sooner the better, and that way you can kind of plan accordingly. The two pictures below, Stevie Sanchez is one of our interns for the American Bald Eagle Foundation. And so he's one of our student veterans. And so he was in Haines, Alaska, interning with the Bald Eagle Foundation. And he's a biology major and had a super time. So that's one of those unique kinds of internships. If you're outside of UAS, you can apply for that internship directly with the American Bald Eagle Foundation. If you're from UAS, we get to select one student to participate in this internship each summer. And so Stevie was our intern 2 years ago. And then right below, or excuse me, right next to him is Sonia Ibera. She is one of our graduate students who is here in the Juneau area working towards her graduate degree. But she has had multiple internships and helped students with their internship applications. And so we've got some people that are very well versed and ready to help. And so you can check with your career services office if you're at Fairbanks or Anchorage, and they'll be able to help put you in touch with some people who should be able to help you as well. So how do you get started? I usually come at things from what I call as a reverse engineering approach. So when I'm working with students on either trying to decide what to do with their degree program, or they're looking at a particular job that they're interested in, then that's their eventual goal. Then we start with that at the beginning, and then we work backwards from there. So this is a chance if you want to explore a particular area or a particular industry, just to kind of see what it's all about, and if you want to go in that direction. So this is a chance to kind of dream and think about those different things. Now, for a specific job, some of the titles that are fairly common, like in this example on the screen, it just says radio broadcaster. I would encourage you, and you can write this down because this isn't in part of this presentation, but write down the website Indeed.com. And with Indeed.com, it's like a Google for job search. And so you can go in there and do some keyword searches and then identify some job titles that interest you. And then you can dive in that a little bit deeper and find out what they're all about. And then the next step would be to continue with the process of trying to find a way to get some experiential learning with that. Or you can start with a particular industry. So in this example, healthcare, there could be, there's so many different directions you can go in the healthcare industry. So trying to drill down, but maybe starting with that. And then I suggest making a list of your top choices and then rank them in order. And then ask your contacts if they know anyone who works in any of your top choices. And you can ask your contact if they can assist you in making an introduction, or you can send an inquiry email or place a phone call. So you can be definitely more assertive in this way, take the initiative to reach out to some people, but your career services offices are definitely here to kind of help you with that process along the way. So feel free to reach out to them. So what I have here is an example of an email, and This presentation will be emailed to all of you who are attending. So you'll have this example that you can start with. So use this for inspiration and then change it up to fit your voice. But here's just a quick intro for a student who's interested in exploring more of a job with the wildlife biology or as a wildlife biologist. Now, what's really great, another way to find people to contact is through the state of Alaska. So jot this down too, because you could find a wildlife biologist through the state of Alaska by going to their employee directory. So their employee directory, the state employee directory, is in the top right-hand corner of the alaska.gov website. And from there, you can find the department and division within the state of Alaska, and then it'll list all the different employees. And so you'll be able to find email addresses and phone numbers of people that work with the state. And so that's a good place to start. And otherwise, preferably, if you know someone who can connect you, then that is probably the best way to do it. But you can also reach out to people who work for the state because you can get their contact information because it's public. So you just shoot out email to somebody and then see what they have to say. And you will find that people love talking about their jobs. And so in this example, you're just trying to find out some information. So you want to learn about what they do and what the different ins and outs of the department or division or their company, their business. And through that conversation, we call this an informational interview. And so after finishing this informational interview through either, a phone call or a face-to-face, hopefully a face-to-face here in a few months, but then what that can do is if the person that you've been working with or communicating with, if they go, wow, this person is really great, I'm really enjoying this student, I think they've got great potential, and then they might pass your name on to somebody else. So you're all of a sudden you're on their radar because you took the initiative to see what you can find out, and then because of that connection, there might be an opportunity for an internship. And so even at the end of this conversation, then you can ask if there could be a possible opportunity for an internship or a volunteer opportunity. And here's another example. And this is a little bit more direct as far as asking if there is any internship or volunteer opportunities. So you kind of have to go with your gut and find out, would this be the right approach perhaps? Or maybe you want to start with the previous email or phone conversation when it comes to their particular type of job. So feel free to use this, like I said, inspiration, reword it, and then you've got a couple things ready to go when you come across something that you want to pursue. So where can you find internships? So the first place, Workplace Alaska, is probably the best place to start when it comes to opportunities across the state. And just keep in mind, the college intern, of course, is pretty obvious. But when I first came on board here with UAS 8 years ago, I saw a student intern and I just thought, oh, is that kind of the same? I think it was by itself. It didn't have a college intern posted. And turns out it's just for high school students. But the really great thing is there are opportunities for internships with high school students. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this particular site. And so some of you might be familiar with Workplace Alaska. And so when you get to Workplace Alaska, and just getting there, I would recommend, and you can jot this down, just do a Google search for Workplace Alaska because as you can see, the navigation is a little bit involved. And so it's probably easier just do a Google search. And then you click on For Students. And we checked this yesterday as part of our job search strategies, and again, 0 is found. So there aren't any internships that are currently posted, but I would make it a practice to check this. Just check it periodically, because sometimes they pop up and then you want to be ready to go when they do. And then, since this session is hosted by our Sitka team, and you can also translate this into like the city of Anchorage or the city of Fairbanks, but oftentimes there are opportunities within the city websites. And so in this case, you would just go to job opportunities, and then you will see those different jobs that are posted. And we've had some internships here in Juneau, and they've been posted with and offered by the city and borough of Juneau. And so don't forget to kind of check with them as well. Now, another really great place is usajobs.gov. So with usajobs.gov, there are internships specifically for students, and there's also jobs for recent graduates. So let's take a look at this. So with USA Jobs, these are all federal jobs. So this is where you're going to find jobs with the Forest Service, with NOAA. So there's the Department of Agriculture. So the Forest Service is nested under there. But just scroll down until you get to the link, Students and Recent Graduates. And under Students and Recent Graduates, I would encourage you to become familiar with the Pathways program. It's what they call their internship program. And there's some really interesting things with recent graduates and fellows programs, so that's something to become familiar with. And then keep on scrolling down, and then we're gonna take a look at this in just a second. But right here, this is really fascinating to see a list of federal agencies. You'd be surprised how many federal agencies there are with the federal government, some that you may not have even heard of, and there could be some agencies that you would be interested in exploring more. So I'd encourage you to go ahead and become familiar with these additional resources listed here. So then we're going to go ahead and click on Search Internships and Jobs. And so just for fun, we're gonna go Alaska, if I can spell it right, Alaska. Now you can do a search for Anchorage or Sitka, you know, really bring it down a little bit closer to where you're interested in looking. But we're gonna go ahead and click on this. This one is available in Anchorage, and it's open until the 24th, so it's coming up pretty soon. It's with the National Park Service. Here's the pay. And you can jot this down on your notes, the pay scale and grade when you're looking at jobs with the federal government, usually I think a 4 is just high school, but a 5 and up to 9 is going to be college level. So you have kind of a range there that you can work with. And as you can see, the salary range reflects that. And it shows that it's here in Anchorage. And so you can read about the different types of things that you would be doing in that internship. And then you would have to make application. And if that's the case, if you see a job with the federal government that you want to apply to, strongly encourage you to get in touch with your career services offices, because a federal resume is a whole different ballgame. It's very involved. There are specific things that you have to do for your resume. They have to be included. And oftentimes federal resumes can be 3 to 6 pages long. So they are definitely different. So if you do see something that you're interested in, the closing date is a little bit out, get in touch with your career services office as soon as possible, because it takes some time to work with you, especially with your first one. And once you get your first one under your belt, you should kind of know how to do it, but we're always there to help support you along the way. So, but there's some really great opportunities with the federal government. So I would encourage you just to kind of watch those and then see if there could be something interesting coming up, maybe, you know, in the fall if it fits, or most likely in the summer. Now, this particular organization is one of my favorites. This is the Student Conservation Association, SCA. And the thing I love about SCA is they partner with several different federal agencies, like the Bureau of Land Management is one, the Forest Service is another. And so students who apply for internships through SCA, they bypass the whole federal resume part. And so they've got some really, really great opportunities that are out there across the country. So if you want to get out of Alaska and go down to California or Florida, go someplace warm, then try SCA, because the great thing about this organization is you can see below, for the most part, they provide housing, and they also provide a stipend. And then oftentimes they will provide the cost for transportation. So, and then the AmeriCorps award is a pretty great thing. You have your, you get a kind of a chunk of money at the end. And I think Sarah is with us today. So Sarah, I'm gonna refer to you to maybe explain it a little bit more, but this AmeriCorps award can go towards the cost of your education. And so if you finish out the internship, then there is, you know, $1,000 to $1,000+ that will be deposited into your student accounts. So, or your student account. So, so Sarah, are you available?
I don't see her on the list of participants.
Okay. So, so if you have any questions, then this link is provided and it'll be in the PDF that we'll be sending you, and it has her email address. So feel free to get in touch with Sarah. And there are some AmeriCorps opportunities as soon as you graduate. And so there are several AmeriCorps workers that are in the Sitka area. And so, so you can check and see if that might be something you're interested in. Especially maybe within the healthcare field, there's lots of opportunities to do some really great work, meaningful work, and they do pay. And so you can check and see the link that's provided here will give you the place to go to start to search. But let's take a moment and let's take a look at SCA so I can show you a couple things about the website. So as you're perusing some of these opportunities, there's a few things that I want to make sure that you look for as you are scrolling down. So here we have the state and location. So we're just going to go to Alaska and search. So now we see the different opportunities across the state. And just for fun, since we're here closer to Sitka, we've got a couple opportunities here. Here's one in Anchorage that begins in September. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the one in Sitka here, the Museum Collections intern. So on this page, goes into some information about the internship. It lists the compensation amounts. And so just like I mentioned, there's a travel allowance, weekly living allowance, and then here is the amount for the AmeriCorps award. So it's pretty good, over, you know, almost 3,000. And then just keep on going down, and then make sure you click on further details, because here it will tell you, yes, it's eligible for the AmeriCorps award. You have to have a valid driver's license, and this is typically the highest point of interest for students is, will I have a place to live? And so in this particular opportunity, there's a shared apartment with other National Park Services seasonal staff, and then citizenship is required. We do have some students who are on exchange, and so there's a filter that you can see for those that don't require citizenship. But anyway, so all of this is under further details, and so make sure that you click that link so that you can see what kinds of things are provided. Now, here's a tip. You can go in and create your profile now, because another really great thing about SCA is oftentimes they don't require a resume, but they do require you to fill out a profile, and there are several tabs that you need to complete. There are some essay questions on conservation, so you have to answer those essay questions. There's about 3 of them. There's a tab for your skills, for your work experience. And so what you can do is you can go in and actually complete those tabs. And then if you see something that you're interested, then you can go into your profile and then modify it to include maybe some skills that are asked for in the particular internship. And then you can update your skill set. So this is a way where you can kind of, you know, take the ball, get the ball rolling, and then be ready to go when opportunities come up. And then also for those of us here in Alaska, our SCA representative, she is able to waive the application fee. And so contact your career services offices, because they do have the contact information for our SCA representative, and she would be happy to waive the registration fee. I think it's $25, but you can get in touch with her if you see something, and then she'll be able to take care of that for you. Now, another thing that you can explore are listservs. When I first came on board at UAS, our marine biology program is just amazing. And so talking to the faculty with that program, they kind of turned me on to this particular listserv. And in this particular listserv, what they do is they will send you opportunities via email. And so there's a lot of them. In this case, I mean, there's probably about 3 or 4 that come in each day. But I think you can change your settings to kind of decide how many times they contact you. But do a search for a listserv for your particular industry that you're interested in, and then you might be able to find some opportunities. In this case, there is some discussion about industry kinds of topics, but this is where a lot of internships are posted. So that's another place to look. And then kind of aligned with the sample emails that we've looked at previously, you can reach out to particular businesses and contacts within those businesses through this website. This website is Alaska Employers, and it's housed by the Department of Labor and Workforce Development, their Research and Analysis division. And so this is a fun one. If you haven't tried this out, then the navigation to get to this page is listed right there. So you need to go to that, kind of make your way there, and then just bookmark it so you can come back to it. So we're going to start here, and we'll go ahead and select Sitka and next. Actually, let's do, since we have somebody here from Anchorage, let's go Anchorage and do next. This next screen are what they call broad industry categories. And so you just have to decide which one you're going to click on first. And so let's go ahead and select healthcare and social assistance. And then next. And then it drills down one more level. And so we'll select individual and family services, but you can go check out any of these. So you can do this one first, come back, try something else. So it offers you lots of ways to look at different areas. Now right here, so we have under this particular topic, then here are the ones that are listed. Here's how many employees are there. And so if you click on one of these, then here is the name of a person. So the president of the company, and in this case, it has the actual website listed. If it's not listed, then you can do a Google search for that company and be able to find out a little bit more about what they do. And then you can make contact with the president by sending that person an email, or there's a phone number, you can place a call. So this is, again, a way to connect with somebody within the field that you're curious about or definitely are interested in. And perhaps there's an opportunity for you to do an internship or to volunteer. This also is one of the best places to find internships. It's amazing how connected our faculty and staff are to people in the state of Alaska for the types of things that students might be interested in exploring. So I highly recommend to get in touch with your professors and instructors because chances are they know of something, or they certainly know someone that you can speak with. Also, your academic advisors and faculty advisors are just incredible. So again, they might have some ideas for you. And the thing is if you do this and you take the initiative, then you will definitely be on their radar. I can say, as the career services coordinator here, when students and alumni contact me about what are some job opportunities, they are on my radar. And oftentimes when I have opportunities come through my inbox, I think of them. So get on people's radar, because they'll be able to think, hey, I'm going to reach out to this student or this alumni because they contacted me. So I want to make sure that I put them in touch. So that is a definite must do when it comes to finding internships. Another place that you can look is with your Chamber of Commerce or your Economic Development Association. There are people within these organizations that are, again, well connected. They're in specific industries. And so this is a great way to find contacts to reach out to and see if there's some opportunities with them. And so with most Chamber of Commerce, you can just go to their member list, and those are organized by industry groups. And then with the Economic Development Association, there are some contacts. And so they're a little bit kind of a smaller organization than the Chamber, but you can get started with somebody there in the Economic Development Association, and then they'll be able to help you to get to the next place. Now, what about volunteer opportunities? There's some amazing things out there. So here's a couple of websites that you can try out and see if there's some opportunities that you might want to explore. So Volunteer Match, this is a site that I have used frequently over the years, and it still is a good website. So let's go ahead and try it out and see what it comes up with. So we have Sitka already inputted there in the field. So let's go ahead and see what we got. So as you can see, there are 2,123 volunteers needed near Sitka, but right here in Sitka, there are 7. And some of these might be located, the corporate office could be someplace else. So, but you can, if you want to get into some more information about that one, you can, that one as well. And then let's go on down. And here we see something specific to Sitka. So with this organization, Sustainable Climate Environment Advocate, that they're looking for with the Citizens Climate Lobby. So you can learn a little bit more about that and connect with somebody within that organization. There's another one that's specific for Sitka. So, so you can see, here's some places that you can volunteer. And then just change your search up to try some other areas, and then there should be some opportunities that are right where you need them to be. And then Idealist is a new website that we've come across in light of COVID. So this has a lot of remote opportunities that are posted. And so what you can do is you can search for jobs, or you can search for internships or volunteer. So once this loads, we'll see if we can get into the volunteer opportunities. And then once you get into the volunteer section, then there's ways that you can sort, do some filters here. So you can apply some filters and then find some different opportunities that are listed that might be right near you. So this is one that you can also try to see if there's some volunteer opportunities that look like they could be kind of fun and also align with your degree program. And the last place to look is Handshake. And Handshake is a platform that or actually all 3 of our campuses, Fairbanks, Anchorage, and Southeast, are using to post jobs and internships. So all of our students within the UA system have an account with Handshake. And so if you haven't activated your account, then you can just go in and do so. And with that, you can definitely see what's available. So here is a quick video on Handshake. If it works.
For college students on the go, finding time to focus on your career can be a big challenge. With Handshake's new mobile app, getting a leg up on your next job opportunity is right in the palm of your hand. Access messages from employers right away that are looking for someone just like you. The new collections feature helps you discover jobs specially recommended for you. Jobs are now grouped together based on your individual interests, allowing you to easily browse and favorite. So land that job or internship with an app designed to make the process easier. All over campus, students are discovering, applying, and getting jobs and internships in a brand new way with Handshake, now on mobile.
So it referenced the mobile app, and in this presentation, this is hyperlinked, and so it'll take you directly to the free app that you can download to make sure that you get all of the different notifications from Handshake. And then as you build your profile, then it allows employers to find you, so they can do searches for students who are in specific areas with specific degree programs. Excuse me. So spend some time completing that, because it's definitely going to be to your advantage. Sorry. So as I said, everybody is already in the system. So you just need to activate your account using your username and password through your university, and then you're good to go. Excuse me. So that pretty much wraps up what I have for internships and volunteer opportunities. Coming up tomorrow, we're going to be covering resumes and cover letters. It's a very extensive session. So we'll look at lots of different examples for both resumes and cover letters. And then our, our last session is on June 23rd, next Tuesday. And it's all about virtual interviews, how to prepare, how to get set up so that you're good to go on that end as well. And then you can register for either of these through Handshake or also through our online registration form. Oops. And so let me take a drink of water here. So that concludes what we have for you today. And so I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, Jeff Budd, and he can wrap us up.
All right, and I'll just, real quickly, I'll just speak to the AmeriCorps program. And I did it for 4 years. At that time, if you did it for 2 years, you would get your education stipend, whatever amount it was at that particular time. So if looking at now, you come away with $6,000. The other thing I would venture that anywhere from a third to the half of the people that did AmeriCorps that came to Sitka to participate stayed on and got hired by the place they were at or someplace similar. So I thought it was a great opportunity. I was at the end of my career, so it was a good deal for me. So anyhow, get a hold of Sarah. So on behalf of the Complete to Compete program, we want to thank you for attending and hope you will join us for the other upcoming seminars.